Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the channel. My name is Taylor, and today I'm going to be answering your questions and responding to your comments. So here we are at the end of 2020. This is going to be my last video for the year, and it's been a pretty interesting year. I've had so many cool things happen as a direct result of this channel, and I have no intention of slowing down. If anything, I'm going into 2021 with even more motivation than I had in 2020. I've made a lot of videos this year, I've learned a lot, and I've had a lot of really cool experiences and opportunities as a direct result of this channel. And the channel's really come a long way in 2020. When I started 2020, I had just under 1,000 subscribers, and now I'm wrapping up 2020 and there are over 7,000 of you. That's really mind-blowing to me, and I definitely don't take it for granted, and I really appreciate every single one of you. So being that this is the last video of 2020, I thought it might be kind of cool just to look back at some of the better moments that we had this year. And I swapped out the Chinese-made Vintage 30 speakers for the Vintage... Hey Jamie.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going.
Whatever, poser. I'm gonna pick this out in 2 seconds.
Alright, I guess.
Did I just fart?
Rumor has it that if you use the G word 3 times in front of the mirror at midnight, you'll authentically get sued. Watch out! Really?
Gibson. 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 It's true.
It's kind of missing something. Oh, there we go. I wish you would not use that god-awful metal riff to demo the speakers. It's pointless, really. Had to click off. Fail. I mean, I find it kind of interesting that someone would click on a thumbnail of a guy who has tattoos and has his name in a death metal font on the thumbnail and then be surprised that he plays a metal riff. Not too observant there, are you? So far, this thing's really bumming me out. And to be honest with you guys, I don't even scratch the surface on what this thing can do.
Amp switcher controls the rate of the Earth's revolution. This one controls many people die in a minute around the world.
It has functionality that's way over my head, and it's not stuff I use.
This one controls how hot the sun is.
Maybe I'd have more time to practice playing if I wasn't responding to your comments! Ah! What's that smell? That was a lot of fun, and I really can't wait to make more videos next year. So a bunch of you guys have been reaching out to me and asking if everything's okay because I have not been active on social media at all. I haven't been responding to comments. I've just been very, very quiet lately. And really there's 2 major things that have happened. The first thing is that I have either worked in retail or the shipping industry since I was 19 years old, and that means that every year around Christmas time, I am always way too busy to enjoy the holidays. This is really the first year where I had the opportunity to just sit back and enjoy the holidays with my family and to just listen to Christmas music and watch Christmas movies and sort of like be jolly, I guess. And so I took full advantage of that, and I just stepped back from the internet for a little bit and tried to just enjoy the holidays with my wife and my son and build some new memories. The other thing that ended up happening was I got sick with COVID. To those of you who reached out to me, thank you so much. That really means a lot to me. And so that's another reason that I haven't really been posting any videos or posting on my Instagram or anything like that, is just because I really haven't had anything to post. I've just been in bed trying to recover. But I'm doing much better now, and every day I'm getting a little bit more energy, and that's why I decided to make this video to wrap up 2020. And some of you have been asking about the stuff that I have planned for my channel in the next year and stuff that I have coming up. There's definitely a lot of stuff that I want to do to the channel in 2021, but just to summarize all of it, I just want to keep making better and better videos. I want to be proud of the videos that I release in 2021, and what that comes down to is being better on camera, having better production, better editing, all these things. And going into 2021, I just want to prove to myself that I can make better and better videos as I keep doing this. So with that vague general plan for 2021, here's some of the stuff that I have coming up soon on my channel. These are $30 locking tuners that I got on Amazon, and we're gonna put these on my EC256. The tuning is definitely the Achilles heel of that guitar, so I wanna try these out and see if that takes care of the issue, because if it does, it's a $30 fix, and I think that that's an excellent value. And I also have this guy here. This is the Jackman 2 Bant amp. I'm really excited about. I really like these Bant amps. And so not only do I have the Jackman 2, but I also bought this one, which is the Firebrand. So the reason that I bought this one as well is so that we could do some shootouts with them and that I can review them individually. But I think that these are some of the best budget options if you're looking for an amp that you can take to band practice and be able to keep up with the drummer, no problem, and still have awesome tone. I also recently upgraded my 𝗵𝗲𝗹𝗃 clone. I was having some issues with it, if you saw in my recent reverb video, which I will post up here, and I ended up buying one of these guys, which is the Torpedo Captor, and this thing works really, really great. It definitely solved the problem that I was having, and so I got this just so I could do more amp comparisons and, you know, videos with my actual tube amps. That way I can use the same IR when I'm comparing, you know, an amp to a sim or a plugin or something like that. Just really comes in handy. I get questions all the time about using the HX Stomp and, you know, upgrading it with different foot switches and stuff. And so I had this company reach out to me that makes foot switches specifically with the HX Stomp in mind. The company's called Rockstock, and they make these cool little, comes in a velvet pouch, look at that. And they make these cool little tiny pedals that you can use to expand your HX Stomp if you need more buttons. And it sort of fits in perfectly with the theme of the HX Stomp, which is a very tiny portable unit. I mean, I could fit this thing in my pocket. Look how small that is. So cute. So that's just some of the stuff that I have coming up in the next couple months on my channel. Of course, I am always listening to your guys' comments and suggestions on the things you want to see. And if there is anything that you want to see, definitely let me know in the comments below. And speaking of comments, let's start reading yours. These first questions come from my Discord server, and if you haven't checked out my Discord server, there's a link for it in the description below. You should definitely go check it out, but yeah, let's answer these questions here. What are your favorite high gain pickups that you've tried thus far? And have any clean tones blown you away? Psst, I won't tell anyone you like them cleans if you do. Winky face. Honestly, and I know it's kind of a boring answer, I just like my EMGs. I like the 8185 set. It's what I've used for a really long time, and it's something that I'm really familiar with. But I would say a strong runner-up and my preferred pickup, if I was going the passive route, would be a Seymour Duncan Black Winner. I really like those pickups a lot, and I think in the world of passive pickups, they really give the EMGs a run for their money. But again, the EMGs are just something that I've used for so long, and I'm just really familiar with them, and that's why I like using them. And as far as any clean tones blowing me away, no, not really. I think in a lot of ways, it's a lot easier to get a good clean tone than it is like a good heavy distorted tone, just because you're working with less variables. What are your top 5 favorite guitar plugins from 2020? That's a good question, Barry. There are a lot of great guitar plugins out there, and they just keep getting better and better. But I would say as far as things that released in 2020 that I enjoyed the most, there's really only one that blew me away, and that's the ML Sound Burger plugin. I really enjoy that plugin a lot, and I use it all the time, and that's my totally unbiased opinion of that plugin. It's pretty much just my ideal sound in a plugin, so that's why I enjoy it so much. And I would say as a couple honorable mentions, I really like the Neural DSP Granifier plugin. I thought that that one was really good. And if you just want a ridiculous amount of options and you just want to be able to tone quest for hours and hours on end, and that's what you enjoy, and you don't want to spend a ton of money doing it, then I would say go for the Audio Assault Reamp Studio plugin. That plugin has a ridiculous amount of amplifiers and cabinets and effects and all that stuff, so you know, you can really spend a lot of hours just tone questing and messing around with sounds if that's what you want to do. So plugins for 2020, there you go. Thanks for the question. What is your favorite Dimebag solo, and can you play it for us? Hey, thank you so much for the question. So to be honest with you, I'm not really a huge Pantera fan. And although I really appreciate Pantera and what they did for metal and what Dimebag did for guitar playing, it's just not something I really listen to a lot. I mean, if you played a Dimebag solo for me, I would probably be hard pressed to tell you what song that's actually from. And that's not a knock on Pantera at all. Just to be honest with you, I don't really listen to a lot of music, and I never really listened to Pantera a lot when they were super popular when I was younger. But thank you so much for the question, and you know what? Learning a Dimebag solo is now on my bucket list. Watch out for that in 2021. I'll have to challenge myself by doing that on the channel. Thanks so much for the question, man. When you were touring with any one of the bands you've been in, what were your favorite and least favorite things about touring? Hey Ronny, great question. Thanks so much for that. So the thing that I liked most about touring was just traveling and going to different cities every night. When I was really young, my grandma worked in the school system. She used to drive buses, and she was a lunch lady, and then she was also like a teacher's aide. So she'd always kind of worked in like the elementary school system. And that means she had the summers off. So what she would do in the summertime is she would take me and, you know, my aunt and sometimes my cousins, and we would just get in her motorhome and drive around the United States. So I think by the time I was 5 or 6 years old, I had seen most of the major monuments in the United States, and I had been to like parts of Canada, and I had just seen a lot of things, and I think that left a very clear impression on me as a child. And to this day, I still really enjoy road tripping. Like, to be 100% honest with you, I would rather drive to most places than to fly to places. Now, my least favorite thing about touring was being broke and living in a van, essentially. You know, especially when you're in the smaller opening bands, you're not really making any money, and most of what touring is just cred for your band. And it can be really hard on you, not only physically having to live in a van and figure out how to feed yourself and how to stay clean and, you know, how to get a good night's sleep every night, but just mentally knowing as well, like, I could go home and get a job and not have to live this way and be a lot more comfortable. I think that that's probably the worst aspect of touring. So, thanks so much for the question, man. To add to Ronny's question, which town, city was just the worst on tours? I don't think that there's necessarily cities or, you know, spots that are just the worst. I think that it's just like circumstances are the worst. And when I was touring the most was in 2009, which was in the middle of like a recession and a housing market crisis, and just not the best time to be touring. And I distinctly remember driving through New Orleans and there just being trash piled up out in the streets. And on top of that, it had just flooded there. So you're walking outside and there's just trash piled up in the streets and rats running around. And I just never experienced like that sort of poverty or, you know, that sort of fallout from a huge natural disaster. And it's not like that's anyone's fault or that makes New Orleans a bad place. It was just at that time, at that moment when we were there, it was a pretty uncomfortable place to be. That in Wyoming, because I don't think I've ever played a show in Wyoming, but I've had to drive through that state several times and it's not a lot to look at. Hopefully that answers your question, man. Thanks so much. To add to the previous questions, what are your favorite memories from touring? Thanks for that question, David. My favorite memories from touring are all of the great shows that my band had. I definitely don't mean all the shows, because there were definitely some shows where, you know, we were arguing and we played poorly, or just like the show was not that great for whatever reason, maybe the sound was bad. But the vast majority of shows were really awesome, and there was this period of time that we had this really great lineup, and as a band we were playing tighter than we had ever played, and those shows were the best. And those are definitely my best memories. Being on stage with my bros, having the time of our lives, playing our hearts out. Thanks for the question, man. Okay, now we're gonna jump over to the questions from my YouTube community page. Congrats on your feature jam on 𝗆𝗆's channel. You are both in my gotta watch the new vid list. How did it feel having your sick guitar vid broadcast on his channel? Plus having him positively react to it. Hey Mike, thanks so much for that question, man. If you missed out on that video, I will link it up here, and I will link both mine and 𝗆𝗆's video down in the description. But to answer your question, it felt awesome. It felt really validating in a lot of ways too. I think I've actually shared this on my channel before, but the whole reason that I even started my channel, or even, you know, had any desire to do a YouTube channel, is because of 𝗆𝗆. I was watching one of his FAQ videos a few years ago, and someone had asked him about, you know, starting a YouTube channel and how to go about doing it. And his answer was something like, you know, if you want to start a YouTube channel but you don't know what to do, just redo some of the videos that I've done and do them in your own style. And so I literally did that. It was a video about Behringer pedals, and it was the first time that I had ever like got any views or anything like that on my channel. And it really started me on the path that I'm on now and making my channel what it is today. And so with that being said, not only do I owe Ola a huge debt of gratitude, but I think all metal guitar players on this platform do as well, because he really opened up a lot of the doors for us and really even made this a possibility. And so for him to feature my video on his channel was not only really humbling, but really validating in a lot of ways too. And the fact that he enjoyed it was just, you know, icing on the cake. Thanks so much for the question. You're still going to do a GWAR cover for me, right? Hey Zach, thanks so much for the comment, man. I haven't done a cover in a really long time, and if I ever get back to doing covers, we might do a GWAR cover. That could be fun. We'll just have to see what happens in 2021. What's some of my favorite gear that I tried this year? Favorite gear that I tried in 2020. There's been a lot of it. How do I narrow that down? There's been so much gear on my channel this year, and a lot of it's been really great, but if I had to try and narrow this down for the sake of a video's length, so I'm not just recapping all of the gear that I reviewed on this channel, I would say that pretty much everything that I have in my live rig was some of the best gear that I tried in 2020, and that's why I'm using it all the time. So that would be the Axe-FX3, the Seymour Duncan Power Stage 700, and the Cymatic Audio LP16, and I'll leave a link to the breakdown of my rig up here if you want to check that out. But then there was a lot of really cool other stuff as well, like the Joyo band amps, the MOAR preamp live. I really liked those things. The pedals from Transmutation Devices. It's just a lot of really cool stuff. And it just makes me really stoked to be a guitar player in this era of technology, because I think there's a lot of cool stuff coming as well. Thanks so much for the question, man. So proud of you, my good man. Why did you introduce me to Predator Hunting Grounds? That's from Kevin. He's one of my patrons, and if you guys can see it on this monitor back here, that's actually us playing Predator online. It's a really fun game, and I highly recommend it. Sorry I got you hooked on that one, Kevin. For real, let's see more of that 256. There is definitely an EC 256 update video coming very soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. What is the #1 piece of gear you hope to try out this year but didn't get to? That's a good question. If I had to pick one piece of gear, probably the Quad Cortex. And it's not even so much that I want to try out another modeler, it's just that I want to see if it lives up to the hype, because that thing was super hyped this year. And maybe I'll check one of those out. I'm still not sure yet. Thanks for the question. How's your band, man? Stuff sounds good. How's COVID affected your music other than no shows? Keep kicking ass. Hey, thank you so much for the question. So the band's still going. We have quite a few songs that are written, and what we have been doing since COVID is we've just been writing songs, essentially. You know, my band has always sort of been like a side project for the three of us that are involved in it, and because of that, things don't move very quickly, but I feel like this year we got a lot of really good songs written, probably some of the best songs we've ever written, and one of them is actually being mixed and mastered right now as we speak, and it'll be released early next year, and a bunch of other singles will follow that one. I think we have like 6 or 7 songs written so far, so we'll be releasing all of those next year. And yeah, as far as shows, I don't know, we'll see. If shows start happening again, great, and if they don't, then, you know, we'll probably just keep writing and recording songs and just trying to make the best songs we can. Thanks so much for the question. Could you show us how to do the drum programming? Hey Daniel, thanks for the question. So I do have a live stream on my channel where I go over some drum programming and even some mixing. I'll link that up here. But I do plan on putting together something a little bit more comprehensive, because this is one of the videos that gets requested the most on my channel. So that'll probably be one of the earlier videos that I do in 2021. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Thanks so much for the question. Any tips on how to clean a tube amp? Compressed air. I'd say the best way to clean a tube amp is the same way that you would clean a computer, and that is just to open it up and use a can of compressed air and spray out all the dust bunnies. And then maybe use some Lysol wipes and wipe all the grime off of the outside of the amp. Thanks for the question, man. I'm interested in buying an entry-level cab, but I don't know where to start. That's a really good question, and I would say definitely don't rush the cab buying process, because your cabinet is going to determine a huge chunk of your tone. And guitar cabinet shopping can be really difficult, especially now with all of the restrictions with COVID and everything, because the best way to shop for a guitar cabinet is just to go play your rig through a bunch of different guitar cabinets. And I wish that I had a better alternative solution than that, but really that's just the way that I think you have to do it, is you just have to take your rig that you play through and go plug it into a bunch of different cabinets and sort of figure out what you like. And then the other thing that I would say is, since your cabinet is such an important piece of gear, that it is one worth saving up for and buying something that you're really gonna like and that you're gonna use for a long time. So definitely take your time, save your money, get the best cabinet you possibly can. It will pay off in the long run. Thanks for the question. Why do you refuse to put the EMG85 in the bridge? It's not that I refuse to do it. I will do it eventually. It's just something that I haven't got around to yet. I get a lot of comments about people swearing that the 85 is better in the bridge than it is in the neck, and we'll see. I will make that video. I just haven't got around to it yet. It's been on the back burner for a while now. Thanks for the question. I like your videos, but I don't like the options you gave. Something with your Jackson soloist would be nice. Cheers from Portugal. Hey, thanks for the comment. I'm not sure what options you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about the type of guitars that I use? I'm not sure. Sorry? Thanks for the comment anyways. Where does the ESP LTD EC500 stand in quality as compared to the EC1000? I read somewhere that it was on the top until the 1000 came along. Your thoughts? It's been a really long time since I played an EC1000, and I remember when I did being not terribly blown away by the quality. I think that the main upgrades on one of the deluxe model Eclipses are gonna be, it's gonna have a better bridge, it's gonna have better tuners, it's probably gonna have EMGs in it or, some sort of better electronics in it. And it's also most likely going to have some sort of like fancy inlays or, some fancy binding or stuff like that. And if those things don't matter to you and you would rather buy one of the more affordable entries in that series of guitars and maybe just end up upgrading the tuners or the bridge, then you're probably gonna have a pretty comparable guitar. Thanks so much for the question, man. I would like to know if Shecters C7 SGR are good or worst budget guitar for 7-string. Hey, thanks for that question. To be honest with you, I never play Shecters, so I really couldn't tell you. But if you own a Shecter and you have some thoughts on this matter, let us know down in the comments what you think of the C7 SGR Shecter guitars. Thanks for the comment. This may sound stupid, but what about a good bass amp review? Hey, thanks for this comment. So I'm not really a bass player and I don't think that I would be the best person to review a bass amp, but if that's something you guys want to see, I can definitely make that happen. Just let me know down in the comments. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you so much for an awesome 2020, and here is to 2021. We'll be doing a lot more of this on the channel next year. Until then, Happy New Year. I hope you enjoy it and I hope that you are safe, and I will see you in 2021. Until then.